Hey guys, it's EJ with Blockpad, and today we're looking at dependent dropdowns. So I have this first dropdown where I have a capital letter, and then my second dropdown options are going to be based on that first value. Now, the way you set this up in Blockpad is essentially the same as a regular dropdown, except that the array that you use as your option list needs to change based on a value. And you're going to do that using regular Blockpad equations and formulas. Now, because of that, there's a lot of different ways to set it up. In this video, we're going to recreate this example here. And then I have two more examples that we're going to look at. And you can kind of see how those are set up using those methods. So let's get into it. So here, first, we're going to make the first dropdown. We have a video on that I'll put a link to in the description, so we'll just walk through it real quick here. I'll press the equal sign and say first options equals this range. And we're going to use that as our option list. I'm going to insert a field, click the field, go to properties, name this first option, scroll down, go to value definition, change this to from option list. Click inside here and click first options. Now I'm going to click OK, and I've got my dropdown. So for the second dropdown, we're going to need an array that changes based on this value. So the way we're going to do it in this example is insert a column here, and I'll press the equal sign and reference this range of cells. So now this cell contains an array of those three cells. To illustrate that, I'll just say table1.b1 here, and you see that it's FGH. So we're going to drag these down and then use a VLOOKUP to return this cell and thus that range. So I'll press the equal sign, type in second options equals VLOOKUP of this value, comma, this range, and then 2. So now you'll see if I change this value, it's going to return those three cells there. So from there, it's just like a regular dropdown. I'm going to insert a field, click it, change the name to second option, press enter, go to value definition, change this to from option list, click inside, reference this array, click OK, and now I've got my dropdown. So if I change this, then these options change. And I do want to point out that when you change this first option, that doesn't automatically change the second value. You're going to have to go and click and change it based off the new options. All right, so that's the first example. I've got two more for you. This one is going to be bolt sizes. So I have this table of bolt sizes available, and then another table for each of those sizes with the lengths available in those sizes. So let's look at the regular dropdown first. If I go to properties and value definition, I'm going to see here it says bolt sizes. And that is just the name of this table. Because remember, when you reference a table, so bolt sizes, the output is just an array of that table. Okay, so now for bolt length, I'm going to click that and go to value definition. And in here, I have an if-s function. So you can see you can put the logic for that dependent dropdown inside of the option list definition if you want to. So I have an if-s function, and it says if bolt size, which is this value here, equals M4, then return this M4 lengths table. And then that's my list. If bolt size is M10, then return the M10 lengths table. And then that's my list. So what happens is if this is M10, then I'm going to get my M10 lengths table as my options. All right, so I've got one more example for you, and this one is a three-level dependent dropdown. So first I select my size, and then I have the grade options available at that size, and then I have the length options available at that size and grade. So our starting data is this index of all the bolts I have available to me and their size, their grade, and their length. So I'm going to show these drop-down selection calcs, and each of these are going to be the option list array that I use in a drop-down. So for example, if I click grade and I go to value definition, I'm just using drop-down selections, which is the name of this section, dot grades. So I'll click OK. So to make these lists, I'm using two array functions, unique items and each row. So for sizes, I just do unique items on this table range, and it's going to remove the duplicates for me. Now for grades, before I run unique items, I run this each row function. What it's going to do is it's going to look at each row in this table range, and then given the size and the grade, which are just the first two items in that row, if the size, or here I have t size, so the row size, is the same as this size value here, then it's going to return the grade. And then if it's not, it's going to return null. So what that looks like, I'll change this to M10. What that looks like before I run unique items, just so you can kind of understand, is I have this array of null values and then the handful of grades that match the size. So then when I run unique items on it, I just get those duplicates removed. Now for lengths, it's very similar, except I'm checking the size and the grade and then returning the length instead of just the size. And then I run unique items on it. So then you end up, I'm going to hide this, you end up with this thing where I can choose, okay, I want an M16 bolt, what are the grade options, say grade 10, and then what are the lengths available at that grade. In the description, I'm going to put a link to information on array functions like unique items in each row. And I'm also going to put a link to this example file so you can use it as a reference when trying to create a dependent dropdown. That's all I've got for you today. Let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.